What's going on, everyone? We're just gonna go ahead and start talking about this because I am not really good at this. Today we're gonna be doing a ballistics test, specifically with 9mm, but I got some kind of unique rounds that I have seen a lot of testing on, but is always interesting to see because it is a fairly exotic round. The other one, I've seen a couple videos, but the tests seem to be done not poorly or anything, not claiming I'm better, but the tests seem to be done with a sort of misunderstanding of what the round is supposed to do, how it's supposed to act, and what results you should expect to see. Now, what specifically am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about SimX here. I'll bring it a little closer so you can hopefully see that. SimX, this is 9mm defensive ammo. I believe they do make other calibers. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like while I was doing my research on this particular 9mm defensive round, I did see some videos from SimX themselves. It looked like what they were talking about was some hunting rounds, so not really sure what else they might be making, but their big one for sure is the 9mm. The reason this stuff is so interesting is because it is a 45 grain lead-free copper projectile moving at around 2250 plus feet per second, whatever the hell that means. Delivering 505 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, which is pretty freaking crazy for 9mm. One of the things that a lot of these videos I saw did not talk about is that this round has what they call a polymer filler. Let me see if I can sort of get you a close-up of that. You can't quite see it, but this round has what they call a polymer filler. And essentially, it forces the expansion of the round. I mean, obviously, this is a massive hollow point, so it's going to expand for sure anyway. But the whole idea behind SimX, and the reason I wanted to make this video, because a lot of others didn't seem to either know, understand, or appreciate what this round is supposed to do, and that is that it is supposed to immediately dump all of its energy on target. So if you hit, let's say if you hit something of the two-legged variety, this thing is going to cause some serious problems, and that's the goal, right? Is create massive wound cavities, which translates to stopping power. So the big thing with this, though, is that it's not supposed to penetrate very far. It's supposed to penetrate far enough that it would be doing damage to vital organs and arteries and things like that. But when you compare it to something like G9, G9 is an external hollow point. This is the plus P 80 grain stuff. They rate it for 1,520 feet per second. But I'll show you here. So this guy is a G9 external hollow point. So as you can see there, it's got a bunch of these little cutouts in it, so that as it's flying, it's creating massive cavities in the tissue, fluid, whatever. So G9 is also lead-free. It is a solid copper projectile. But G9 is pretty cool. It's pretty hot stuff. The thing about G9, though, what they sort of geared it towards was being able to pass through barriers of both clothing and hard barriers like windshields, drywall, plywood, and still perform as an effective hollow point, being an external hollow point, because there's nothing to get clogged up. The SimX, on the other hand, is not particularly designed to go through barriers. That said, I have seen people shoot it through barriers, and it actually does better than you might think, considering the size of the hollow point opening, being only 45 grains, but that's speed, man. Speed will punch through some stuff. So here I have some delicious Jello. No, this is ballistics gelatin. This is actual ballistics gelatin. I did make it myself, but it's using actual ballistics gel. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shoot this gelatin with the SimX, and we're gonna follow it up with the G9. And then I might throw in like a Speer Gold Dot or a Federal HST just as sort of like a control comparison. Since these are both fairly exotic rounds, maybe you don't have experience with them. It's still cool to see, but it would be kind of cool if you could compare it to maybe what you're currently carrying. See which one's going to get you deader. So we're going to be shooting with my Glock 19 It's a Gen 3, sorry. But it's got a Gen 5 style cut slide with the bull nose. We've got a streamlight. Boom. Aimpoint Acro P2 in Sniper Gray. We got XS suppressor height sights with the large green dot. It's been a phenomenal gun. This is usually my my carry gun for every day, but it also doubles as a nice range gun. All right, so I just did a few test shots just to make sure. I was aiming about here and hitting about there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna aim right at the top edge of the block, probably slightly over to the side, so we can put them both hopefully right around the center here. All right, this is MX 45 grain hollow point lead-free polymer filler, 2250 plus feet per second, going into ballistics gel in 3, 2. All right, so let's check it out. It did, wow, it did exactly what Simex claims it will do, but I'm actually really impressed with how well it did it. As you can see, there's a split down the side here. Looks like one of the pedals came out this side here. One of the pedals ended up over here. That looks like the majority. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can see, so that's actually, I wonder where this came from. This is actually the majority of the slug right here. It doesn't look like it really came apart too much, but man, did it make some incredible damage. Here's one of the other pedals down below. Huge wound cavity. I mean, it absolutely obliterated that. Wow. I am highly impressed so far. All right. Up next, it's going to be G9 external hollow point 80 grain plus P, claiming to move at 1520 feet per second versus gel block. See if I can remember where my hold is. Perfect. Clear. Woo! All right, so that's the G9. As you can see, it actually went all the way through the block here, which is to be expected with G9. Like I said before, G9 is actually made to be able to penetrate, but also still perform like a really good hollow point. So let me see if I can, let me scoot this block back a little bit. There we go. So as you can see here, goes in. It is not quite, so the Simex, I don't know if that really picks up on camera. The Simex is, I mean, this is just an absolute hole. Like, this thing got absolutely blown to shit. This one, on the other hand, is more like what you would sort of expect, where it's, I mean, there is a hole, but not really. Following it down here, we got Simex 45 grain. And we got G9 80 grain plus P. So we can see it just, I mean, this is a beautiful wound trail, by the way. So we got the Simex here, and then behind it is the G9 wound path. So as you can see, the G9 does not care. It just kept on going. And it left quite a cavity while it went through. So you can see here is the exit from the G9. And it's actually pretty cool. You can see all those spirals, just how much wounding that thing was doing while it was still in there. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's the two of them compared to each other. I think I'll put one more round into this block
I'm gonna try to get it hopefully like right here.
And it'll be a Speer Gold Dot 115 just to serve as sort of a baseline. All right, Speer Gold Dot LE 115 grain. I was worried about the shot placement and I pretty much freaking nailed it. I was hoping to get it like right here. I got it right here. Boom, within a fingernail's distance. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So already, right off the bat, something kind of interesting I'm noticing. So obviously, like we already saw before, the Simex absolutely grenades itself. I mean, this thing, you can see behind down into the block here, just this massive like explosion that it created and this huge hole. Then on the G9, you actually see something pretty similar, but with a lot more sharp lines going all over the place in there. And then here with the Speer, you kind of don't see that as much, but you can clearly see some very controlled like slicing in there from where the hollow point actually did open up. So remember, we got the Simex, boom, there's the bullet from the Simex, just sort of exploded in like right here. Our G9 went all the way through and exited, and down under there, we have that Speer Gold Dot, and it does exit as well. So we come from this side. This jacket is from the Simex, just to be clear, this little piece here. But down here is that Speer Gold Dot wound trail. And as you can see, it was coming in nice and straight. And then it started to curve for some reason. It started to curve downward, like right about here. It sort of dropped. It didn't... it didn't hit the barrel here. But I mean, that thing came out right above the bottom of the block. Quick editor note, I'm going to put up a picture of that Speer Gold Dot round. I found it on the range, doing something totally unrelated about 4 weeks after filming this video, only about 15 yards past where I was shooting these blocks. But as you can see, it opened up beautifully, all those really nice petals, still in really good shape, and really glad I found that. So up there's that G9 way back there. Down here's the Speer Gold Dot 115 LE. Definitely the most impressive so far is for sure that G9 as far as penetration with the hollow point capabilities goes. The Simex for just pure violent wound cavity, in my opinion, is for sure the winner though. As we saw, the Simex does a phenomenal job on a fleshy target of just absolutely dumping all of its energy, creating essentially a little explosion in that gel block. The G9 creates an incredible wound path the whole way through. It does not care. And then we also saw that the Speer creates a really nice wound path, but not quite as aggressive as the G9, and definitely not anywhere near as aggressive as the Simex, but that's to be expected. All right, so what do we have to take away? Well, Simex does exactly what Simex, the company, claims it does. It hits a fluid, a body-like fluid, and it immediately dumps its energy. I mean, it basically grenaded inside of this block. This whole corner is like just pressing on it. Like this is nice and firm. This, nope. That thing is collapsed. So Simex does exactly what Simex, the company, claims, in that it just completely dumps its energy violently and shreds the bullet. Now, the one thing I will say I was a little surprised about was that the Simex did not actually expand per se. It seems to have shredded some parts of itself off, but interestingly, as you saw, the front portion of that hollow point is still intact. I'm sure if it was hitting maybe like bone or wood or drywall or something, some other sort of hard media prior to impacting the gel, it probably would have deformed and shredded even more. So, I mean, to me, that's an absolute pass. Whether it's what you should carry or not, I'll leave that up to you. The G9 did exactly what we expect G9 to do. It absolutely just sailed through that block. It didn't give a singular fuck, and it created a massive wound path the entire way. G9 is an absolutely nasty round as far as hollow points go, especially as the exotic hollow points go. And then, of course, we have the Speer Gold Dot LE. It did its thing. It didn't do anything poorly. It behaved exactly as you would expect it to. But I think what we're seeing here amongst the three is how far hollow point technology, and specifically the 9mm cartridge, has come. Even just comparing from the early 2000s to current day, we're seeing just massive leaps in the ability to deliver energy on target effectively from different grain weight bullets, from different barrel lengths. And so what we're seeing here is that the Speer Gold Dot does fine. If you're carrying Speer Gold Dot, I wouldn't really worry about it. That being said, I think we've learned something very valuable here, and that is Simex, it works. If you're looking for a hollow point that dumps tons and tons of energy, Simex is going to be your go-to. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned that these 3 rounds are fucking nasty. Don't get shot by them. They will fuck you up. So I guess what we learned here today is that I'm an idiot. Fuck. Fucking blood just flew up my fucking nose.